So in our launch team, you are free to ask me any question that you'd like, and I will answer it with utmost honesty. So Katie had a really great question. She asked, what aspects of the stories did you end up wrestling most with in the writing process? And for me, there are two. The first one is my story of getting sick. The crux of the book is my story of being diagnosed with secondary PTSD and being hospitalized for it. At the time, we didn't know it was PTSD. It was an unknown virus that I had caught in Zambia. And that was a really difficult time in my life. And so to be able to articulate what had happened, especially since I was sick and like my mind was just in a fog the entire time, it was difficult to put to words what was really happening. And so that's why I needed the other ways of poetry and images to convey this larger story of what I was trying to tell in terms of my own struggle with the PTSD. What were the triggers for me? What was I experiencing? What was I feeling? I couldn't remember. And so I had to really go back into those experiences in my mind and feel it, because I didn't feel it then. I was really pushing it aside. And so re-feeling those experiences of trauma was difficult. The second thing was recognizing the many stories that led up to that point of complete sickness and PTSD. There were many stories along the way that had accumulated and had gotten me to that point of burnout. And so even remembering what were the little details and nuances and things that I saw or didn't see in the lives of the girls that I was serving that brought me to that point of being completely burned out and to the point of sickness where I was no good to anybody. And so delving into those stories were also really difficult because I had to remember the pain that put me there in the first place. And I also did some interviews with the girls that are featured in the book to ask them what was happening for you there. And it was interesting that many times what was happening for them was completely different for me, because my PTSD was secondary. And so the way that I was experiencing the trauma was a lot different than the way that they were experiencing the trauma. And so learning from those experiences was both healing and difficult at the same time. And to also kind of process it and debrief it with the girls as well was interesting, because we were able to reconnect in something that was so painful for the both of us during that period. In years later, articulating it again and fleshing through it again, and now doing it together in community with each other and through the many years of friendship with each other, having those conversations again didn't seem as terrifying. Yes, it was difficult. Yes, it was hard. Yes, we got into some wars in the process of telling these stories as well. But I feel it was actually a redemptive process in going back to these difficult stories to try to shed light on it. So thank you, Katie, for that question. And as you get an advanced copy of the digital book, if any other questions come up along the way, feel free to let me know.